Motoring 2011 on TSN is brought to you by Quaker State, Real Durable Oil, and Michelin, a better way forward.
Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. A refrain heard quite often here in Las Vegas. Now in the automotive world, Ford gambled, maybe not here in Sin City, but it lost big when it purchased Jaguar and Land Rover. Ford paid just over $5 billion for the iconic British Marquis. 8 years later, and short on cash, it sold them for only $2.3 billion to India's Tata Motors. Not your average day here in Vegas, I hope. Since the sale, the brands have been doing okay, with Land Rover leading the way. But you know, with the resurgence of the luxury division, they're hoping for big things too from Jaguar. And later on, we're going to check out the new XJ. But first, we're heading to the Las Vegas, Nevada Speedway for an experience that might have you running with check in hand, not to the Speedway, but to your local Jaguar dealership.
This is unique in that it's obviously the only driving school in the United States that exclusively uses Jaguar XKR and XFR vehicles, 510 horsepower, race-bred designs. And all of our XKRs and XFRs come with this included in the sale.
This isn't a racing school out here. This is a performance driving school. It's not a defensive driving school. We're not having slaloms and accident avoidance. This is going to teach you how to drive your Jaguar car at the limit. The first thing you do after the classroom session is we send you out on the autocross course, timed autocross course. You get one practice lap and one timed lap. We want to get your base times down. Anytime you're out here with the Jaguar R Performance Academy, you'll always either have a pro driver or driving coach in the right seat with you, or you're always in a lead follow scenario on the big track. So you're never out here pounding around the track by yourself. We're big fans of full throttle. I yell full throttle all day long. With the instructors that we have out here, I'm completely confident in letting the folks have a lot of fun out here and letting them really explore the limits of their own ability as well as the car.
It's an interesting idea. You know, you buy one of these cars, they're 500 plus horsepower, even more torque, and you're asking a guy that's probably never been on a track to, you know, to negotiate one of these cars. And you know, I think this course should be mandatory for anyone that buys a car this powerful.
It's not just two Jaguars, but the three Jaguars are going to be forming themselves into a formation finish, which will look marvelous.
Jaguar, for its entire history, has been a very high-performance manufacturer. You know, we have 7 Le Mans victories to our name, obviously road competition all over the world, and these cars are true to that heritage. These are amazingly luxurious cars, but they're high-performance cars. It's, you know, the XFR, the XKR, world-class high-performance cars with a great wrapping of luxury on top.
There's a lot of sections that we go, you guys saw, left, right, left, right. You need to sacrifice the exit of some turns to be prepared for the next turn. So that's what we'll be working with you guys, okay?
All that experience that you've gained over the years racing, you don't realize how little people know about driving. And then you actually realize that if we could get everyone to do this kind of course that we do today, just in one day, we would all be that much safer on the roads.
And then we'll let you work for a few laps until you guys get it, okay?
99.9% of people have never even been sideways in a car. And if they happen to get sideways for some reason on the road, they panic and they probably get involved in an accident. So just things like that. We build them from the basics, and then by the end of the day, you'll see, by the afternoon, they'll be going as fast as they're comfortable on the racetrack. So it's pretty cool.
It's events like this that they should offer probably to the public as well as the punters, and I think guys driving BMWs and Mercedes-Benz cars would come and be able to do this and get themselves in behind the wheel of the XF and the XKR, and I think there'd be a fair bit of switch there.
We need you to turn, get grip on the front end of the car, and then start driving the rear of the car with the front. Now, Adam is starting to show off, but he's very, very good, so we forgive him completely. We absolutely don't want you to do this. You like that little Scandinavian flip that he does. Sets it up perfectly. And now, you think that he's gone wrong, but in actual fact, what he's doing is he's just changing direction, you see.
Adam Andretti, who obviously is part of the Andretti family, is one of the most amazing artists when it comes to car control and controlled drifting and slides. Just absolutely a joy to watch him destroy all of the tires we bring.
You know, I'm no professional driver, I'm a journalist, but I mean, we drive a lot of cars, but I'm still having an enormous amount of fun here. And learning. I've learned a whole lot today, and I'm a faster driver for it.
I'm seldom wrong, but I'm always right. More later on Kenzie's Corner.
.6 litres per 100 kilometres on the highway, and it is not a hybrid. On this edition of Test Drive, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco. According to General Motors, the Chevrolet Cruze is a product of global proportions. The car was styled and engineered by Daewoo and Opel. It rides on the General's Global Delta platform. For many, the Daewoo connection could be considered a negative. The reality is it has little effect on how the Cruze performs, or more importantly, how it should be perceived. It is a decidedly decent compact car that's packed with leading-edge technology. The Cruze's cabin has been well thought through. For instance, the fabric in the middle of the seats is picked up on the dash and the door panels. It adds a richness that you don't expect at this end of the marketplace. You'll also find all of the toys with but one omission: Bluetooth. It is wrapped up in the connectivity package and it will cost you $745. The problem? Well, with more and more jurisdictions introducing hands-free legislation, it should be standard. It most certainly is on some of the Cruze's key competitors. The Eco model is based on the regular Cruze LT Turbo, meaning it earns the same fuel-efficient 1.4-litre turbocharged four-cylinder engine. This motor delivers the best of both worlds. It boasts segment-busting fuel economy, yet when pushed, the blown mill delivers 138 horsepower and, more importantly, 148 pound-feet of torque at a low 1850 RPM. These numbers deliver on the promise of performance. The Eco hustles to 100k in under 10 seconds, and it completes the more important 80 to 120 passing move in 7.4 seconds. The changes to the Eco model are subtle, but they do make a big difference. When it comes to the aerodynamics, there's less open area in the grille, and the under-bumper opening actually has powered louvers. They open and shut depending upon the vehicle speed. These, a few other tricks, and you actually drop the drag by 10%. This vehicle is also 100 kilograms lighter than the donor vehicle, the LT Turbo. Among other things, lightweight wheels and low-profile tires. And if you go with the manual, 3 of the 6 speeds are actually overdrives. That's how they get down to 4.6 litres per 100 kilometres on the highway. If you go with this car, which is the automatic version, it's still exceptionally good at 5.1 litres per 100 kilometres. While the stock transmission is the slick shifting 6-speed manual, the Eco Tester arrived with the optional 6-speed Manumatic. It works well with the engines as the ratios bring good off-the-line performance and relaxed highway cruising. However, there is an annoying anomaly. The transmission tends to get a little sluggish when shifting through its gears occasionally. The moral of the story? Stick with the manual and the better fuel economy it delivers. As a full-on 4-door family sedan, the Cruze works. There's plenty of leg space, plenty of head space. You get 60/40 split folding rear seat backs, and behind that, 15 cubic feet of cargo space. The lone drawback? Hockey stick style hinges. Where the Cruze really makes a statement is the manner in which it handles. Its European heritage shines through in a very impressive manner. In fact, the driving feel is one of substance and control. On one hand, the suspension takes the sting out of a rough road, which delivers the demanded comfort. Conversely, there's very little body roll through a fast corner and even less pitch and dive under hard acceleration or braking. Likewise, the steering feel is excellent. It's light at low speeds and firms up nicely at higher speeds. In this regard, the Cruze sets a high standard for the class. Since its introduction, the Cruze has been popular. The introduction of the Eco model should boost that popularity, and for one important reason. If you look at the average car, it is darn near impossible to attain the highway figure that's posted with that vehicle. With this car, well, you can actually get 4.6 litres per 100 kilometres. I did over a 100k highway run. It all goes to show that it actually works.
Well, you know something, brother. Do you want to know the secret behind a long-lasting, successful marriage? It's this. To quote Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, know your role and shut your mouth. Check out me, the Menzoid, on motoringtv.com.
For many hybrids, there is no valuable reason to buy them because gas engines are getting better. You can buy a 100% gas car and get 6 liters per 100 kilometers. The hybrid we got today average between 6 and 6.4. It's good, but it would have to be 3 to be realistically something that you would want to buy.
The XJ came out in the first half of last year, so it's a little bit under a year old. And the XJ is the most luxurious car that we sell. You can actually get the same 510 horsepower engine in that car that we have in the XKR and XFR. It's called a Super Sport. But the XJ is much more about pampering and luxurious high-speed travel rather than the hard-edge performance that we showcase with these vehicles.
You know, nobody can dispute Jaguar's success when it comes to racing and the fact that it builds a beautiful product that really epitomizes luxury with a capital L. However, over the years, Jaguar has had a few challenges when it comes to a couple of things. One, their product is only sold to old people, and 2, they have a problem when it comes to reliability. Well, when it comes to that old demographic, we met somebody at the Jaguar driving school that would certainly dispute that.
I'm 34 and I have an XKR, and I got my first XK when I was 31, and this is my second one. When I told people I got a Jaguar, they all thought I was just an old man and they couldn't believe it. They're all buying Audis, BMWs, Mercedes, and not until I showed them the car did they realize that it was actually a very attractive, fast, fun car.
And they went through a lean period where reliability wasn't very good. And that's one of the things that they're fighting, that we're fighting the most, is get people to forget our cars are reliable now. People said, oh, you know, you used to have electric problem, blah, 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 blah. And really, the cars are unbelievable now, reliability and stuff. And that's one of the reasons we use the platinum coverage, that for 5 years, 50,000 miles, everything is included in the car, the maintenances, any problems, everything. So the cars, we feel very confident that they're very, very reliable, and we just need to transmit that to the public.
All right, it's now time to head to the Quaker State Garage and join a man who I know would look great in a Jag, and that's Bill Gardner.
Brad's trying to be funny here, folks. He knows darn well that any company that doesn't manufacture a pickup truck doesn't have a lot of credibility with me. Now, Jaguar's got some nice V8s, but I like the domestic V8s. I want to talk about a system this week that is in a couple of manufacturers' cars. Now, you walk out in the driveway in the morning, you look at your vehicle, your car, pickup truck, whatever, and you ask it the question, what do you need from me today? Well, in most cases, you're not going to get an answer, but there's 2 manufacturers' vehicles that kind of can communicate with you to some extent. They can tell you when they need service. One is Honda, one is GM. We want to look at them today. This is my client's Honda Accord, and if I ask this car the question, what do you need from me? Well, it sort of answers me in the form of an icon on the dash. So if I stick the key in and fire it up, I can see that all the idiot lights on the dash go out except for one, and that's the maintenance required light. It's an orange light in the top right corner of the dash, and that tells me that this car is past due for an oil change. Now, you can go to the owner's manual, look up the different modes of operation for that light, but the bottom line is Honda's had this system for countless model years on all their cars. It's very simple, and it tells you when that car is due or overdue for servicing, minor servicing like an oil change. And that oil change is what keeps your engine alive past the life of the whole car if you look after it properly. So here, Honda's put a great system in that's a real boon for their drivers. If I ask this GMC pickup what it needs from me, it answers me too, but in a little bit different fashion. GM's had their system for a number of model years as well, and I can scroll through the information on the instrument panel, and there I can see we've got 45% of the oil life remaining on this vehicle. There's other good information in there too, but that oil life information is key to when you're going to do your next oil change interval. And you know what? When you think about this automotive industry, everybody looking over their shoulder and scooping or copying the other guy's technology, I don't understand why all manufacturers haven't looked at Honda and GM, figured out what they're doing. It's so simple, and copied it. It's, you know, all that information that they're using to base this calculation is available through the engine control module, the ECM that runs the engine. In the case of GM, it's counting engine revolutions, total engine revolutions since the last time you zeroed it, and engine temperature, so that it knows if you're running in low temps, you know, sub-zero temperatures, it's going to shorten up that oil change interval. And it even knows if you've idled this or run the engine for hours on end without putting a single kilometer on it, it's going to factor that in and tell you when you should change your oil to protect that engine. Great little bit of technology that I wish everybody had. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 2011.
Time to wrap up our long-term test drive of the Kia Forte hatchback. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the program, which I hope you are, you know that many of my pet peeves consistently deal with the rear of the vehicle. Number one on the list, is it an amber turn signal? And number two, do you have easy external access to the trunk, or in this case, the hatch? Well, let's check the light. Strike one, red on red. However, up front, two amber signal lights. And what's two more light bulbs going to cost? And believe me, Kia is not the only manufacturer guilty of this. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a major safety issue. All right, let's check the hatch now. Yep, easy access, and with the back seats folding flat, plenty of cargo space. All right, let's have a look at the interior. All I can say about the interior is, despite the fact it's a small car, it's a real livable place to be. Lots of room and a very sporty feel. However, I do have a pet peeve, and that concerns the display screen. Now, it's a little better at night, but during the day, it's almost useless. I mean, even with my brand new progressive glasses on, I find myself struggling to read it, which means I'm taking my eyes off the road. I'm not sure if it's the color or if it's just the screen being too small. A viewer has suggested that in recent years, they've been seeing more Kias and Hyundais on the program. Well, we do aim to balance, but they could have a point. You see, these two brands are red hot, and they're making Honda and Toyota nervous, and that's a story worth telling.
Closed captioning of Motoring 2011 is brought to you by
Greener, fuel efficient, global. This is Chevrolet Now, driving our world forward.
Lane discipline. Now, I've jumped on and off this hobby horse a dozen times in my career, including on this show. Off because, frankly, I get so depressed that, like the weather, everybody complains about it, but nobody does anything about it. Unlike the weather, we could do something about it, and that's why I jump back on the hobby horse. There's so many advantages we can get from better lane discipline at almost zero cost. Why don't we do it? I mean, drive right, pass left. How tough can it be? First of all, it's safer because you eliminate the major source of road rage. People don't have to weave in and out of traffic to get where they want to go. Yeah, they shouldn't be impatient, but they are. Let's let them get where they're going. Don't make them even angrier. It's greener, it's more efficient because traffic flows more smoothly. We use less fuel, there's less pollution, it's all good. We get about a 15% improvement in our traffic management capacity because all of a sudden people are using the right lane. I understand I have to give up the gym-only lane, but I see it all the time. There's 3 lanes of traffic jam-packed and I'm whipping down the right side because there's nobody else there. Come on, folks. I'm a giving sort of guy. I'm more than willing to share my lane with you. Come on and join me. It wouldn't be that hard to do. Why don't we have road signs on every overpass? Keep right except when passing. Only right lane, passing left only. You in the blue tempo, this means you. Maybe we get some company to support these things. I mean, we have corporate subsidized vending machines in our high schools. Why don't we have corporate subsidized road signs to improve traffic flow? Things go better with Coke when you drive in the right lane. I'm just making this up, but it could work. And then we also, of course, would have to get our minions of the law to give up their insane fascination with speed limit enforcement and making sure you come to a 0.00 speed at the stop sign and focus on things that matter, like lane discipline. Pull these guys over. Now, police officers I've talked to said if they write these tickets, the justices of the peace won't convict. Justices of the peace I've talked to say if they don't write the tickets, we've got nothing to convict. Somebody's got to get together to plan this stuff, to redesign the roads, to assign these signs, to convince the police officers and JPs to do the right thing. Who's going to do this job? I'll volunteer. I'm Jim Kenzie.
You know, there are lots of reasons to come to Las Vegas. Some may say there's lots of reasons not to. As for me, it's Nellis Air Force Base, found on the outskirts of Las Vegas. And believe me, every toy that the American Air Force has is here. And speaking of toys, the ones here at the driving school, all I can say about this school, well, I can only echo the thoughts we heard earlier. If you're going to spend this kind of money on a vehicle, you might find out how the stuff works that you paid for, and this is the place to do it. And hopefully, you'll become a better driver. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
Guys mostly buy the coupe. That's what BMW says. I think this is going to be a chick car for sure. But if my wife owned one of these, I'd take it out.
Motoring 2011 on TSN has been brought to you by Quaker State, Real Durable Oil, and Michelin, a better way forward.